We are live. Sbtalksports, Sean Webb, real takes over fake debates. Happy Super Bowl Friday. It is going down, Sean. We is live and well for the Super Bowl episode. Brother, how are you feeling today?
Feeling good, man. Lamar's two-time MVP. So feeling real good. All the haters out there.
I'm a hater. CJ Stroud should have got it.
CJ Stroud, we talked about that rookies MVP.
Yeah.
But that said, CJ Stroud is going to be top 5 MVP candidate next season. Better.
Possibly. That's a high chance. Also, shout out to the sponsor of the channel, Swift Energy. Go to swiftenergy.gg. Use code RTOFD to get 20% off your order. Sean, see, look, this episode was a Super Bowl episode, so I had to do something special, man. I had to go in my TikTok bag and go get my brother all the way from TikTok, the undisputed champ. I should have did the stream in black and white. So if you heard a champ before, you'd have seen his videos on TikTok. They always go viral, but they always in black and white, like Hulk Hogan in the NWO days. But yeah, then I had to bring my boy, the undisputed champ, go in the flesh in the building. What's going on, brother? How you feeling, champ? How you feeling? Welcome to the show.
Real good. I finally made it.
Yeah,
I'm on Talk Sports right now, man. I feel good. Hey, it's funny you should say that. That's exactly why I started doing them in black and white. I didn't stop doing them until one guy. I didn't stop doing them in black and white until everybody started complaining and said that doesn't look right. So I stopped doing them in black and white.
Yeah, look, man, that's what brought your videos out. That's why I always know your video. I'm like, bro, go crazy in the black and white videos. So even when I see the stitch in black and white, I know it's your video instantly every time. I'm like, oh yeah, bro, for to go in. But I appreciate you coming on, though, man. Appreciate taking time out. We got a lot of things going to. Like I said, I told you I've been wanting to get you on. I said I'm waiting to the best football moment. It was either gonna be the national championship or Super Bowl. I felt like, let me get bro on for the Super Bowl. How you feeling about the Super Bowl football week? How you feeling? You excited? You happy about it? What you going to Sunday thinking?
This is arguably, hey man, showing my age, but this is arguably the most exciting Super Bowl week I have been a part of since 2016 when Atlanta was in the Super Bowl.
Which is
this is arguably one of the most exciting weeks I've had since then because there's so many stories and layers to stories when it comes. People talk about sports, but there's no sports without story. You have Mr. Irrelevant going against one of the most gifted quarterbacks of all time. You have a coach that's under a tremendous amount of pressure in Kyle Shanahan in order to win a Super Bowl. You have a coach in Andy Reid whose origins is in San Francisco because he came from under the coaching umbrella with Coach Mike Holmgren. So and the funniest thing about both of these coaches, they all of their roots trace right back to San Francisco with the great Bill Walsh. So it's one of the greatest stories that you ever want to be told because to see two coaches from the same culture, from the same culture tree, because they all came from Bill Walsh and Mike Holmgren. To see two coaches go head to head, West Coast offense versus West Coast offense, it's going to be a hell of a thing. And not to mention, Mr. Irrelevant, arguably the greatest story since Tom Brady at this point.
Yeah, I can see that. Sean, you think this is the greatest story? How you enjoy your football week?
I mean, obviously the build up to the Super Bowl is always great, especially now with the expansion of 24/7 media. We've seen, just quite a bit of, there's a lot more, deeper stories. There's, when you think about it, people talk about the quarterbacks, obviously, because that's the driver. But we got arguably two best tight ends in the NFL that will be in the field. We got, two, running backs who stylistically may be very different, but are big parts of what their teams do. Then when we talk about the defense, obviously people talk about San Fran's defense because of reputation, but that other team's defense might actually be better. So,
yes.
So we're, so this is going to be, I think, just a great matchup. Certainly, I would also add the caveat that this is going to be probably one of the better halftime shows ever as well.
That's going to be, baby, make this last forever. He going to be doing it.
Listen, there are people, I've been on, other platforms back in the day with people with somebody, Chris Brown got a better catalog than Usher. I was like, wait, hold up, let's not do that,
Yeah, that's a tough call. That's a tough call.
So,
that's a tough call.
I think, this is going to be just, an epic Super Bowl, first one in Las Vegas as well at Allegiant Stadium, beautiful stadium if you've never seen it. So, yeah, I think this is going to be hopefully great. Last year's Super Bowl was super, a lot of fun, bit of a shootout. I don't expect this one to be as much of a shootout, but definitely looking forward to the game.
Yeah, no, I've been excited. I've been in my football mode for like this last couple weeks. Like anybody asks what I've been paying attention, it's been nothing about football. I ain't been watching in WWE because it's been going down, but I ain't been paying attention to no basketball, no hockey. I was gonna say WWE, but they've been cooking. I ain't been paying attention to nothing but football and probably wrestling right now. You asked what the Bulls did last couple games, I probably couldn't really tell you unless something crazy happened, and something crazy did happen. We're gonna talk about that later in the show. But one thing I didn't get to ask you guys, and I meant to put it in the show in the beginning. Go to Super Bowl meal or snack. What's the first thing you grabbing? And then we all adults here, so I got to ask, what's the first drink you pouring up, if you're pouring up? So, champ, go. What's the first thing you grab in the Super Bowl, and then what's the first thing you pouring in your cup?
Hey, the first thing I'm grabbing, I'm from down south, man. I'm from down south. Fresh out of Columbus, Georgia. So I'm grabbing either that catfish or that lemon pepper wings wet.
Okay.
Extra wet.
I like that.
Hey, shout out to American Deli. So, I'm grabbing one of those. There ain't nothing, especially when you grab that catfish fresh out that grease and put it on that light bread, put some mustard on it and some hot sauce, no tartar sauce, old school way. You just can't do it much better than that.
That mustard and the hot sauce, you brought your South Side out real quick with that one. That's super something, boy. I ain't hear that in a long time. But okay, like I said, it don't have to be necessarily the liquor, but what's the first thing you pour in your cup? If it's something of the adult way, or if it's something regular, what's the first thing you pour in your cup?
Hey man, ain't nothing like a nice. Let me tell you, it ain't nothing like a very, very nice Bud Light Platinum. It just keep it simple.
Simple.
Hey man, it's the game. You ain't trying to get too lit up. You don't know what might happen after the game. So let's just keep yourself good, sober, do just enough to have a good time.
I like that. Sean, what about you? What's the first thing you're grabbing at your Super Bowl, and what's the first thing you're pouring in your cup?
Oh, for me, it's automatic wings. Yeah, it's got to be some type of wing. Be buffalo wings. It could be the lemon pepper wet. Shout out to J.R. Cricket's in Atlanta. Best lemon pepper wings I ever had. Yeah, the wings definitely. And then for me, I love dip. So like a spinach artichoke dip.
Oh,
like that's my other thing. Like if I can have those two things, I'm usually tight.
You in the game?
Yeah, during the game. And then no adult beverages for me. Always, ginger ale or just something, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm the only wild boy here on the panel today, which is fine. But for me, obviously, definitely got to go for the wings. It's crazy. I probably go have time because I got to work the station in the morning because I'll be the one who kind of make the wings, and I've been working on myself. I got this blackened garlic parmesan sauce I do, and this like buffalo sauce I season, like lemon pepper buffalo sauce I do, be on point. So I definitely got to go for the wings, and then I'm a hood baby. I'm sorry, I got to get the rotel dip. I need the rotel dip. Get the rotel nacho dip, get it right. And then depending on if we chilling, a little nice RTD beatbox, ready to drink would be fine. That's because I'm not a beer drinker like that. I'm getting into it. I'm not a beer drinker. Or if not, give me some tequila. If I was by myself at home, I'll put me on some nice scotch. I'll put my look. You got when everybody else touching your bottle, it's a budget with it. If I'm back home by myself, I'm drinking like a boss. Look, I can put me on some nice scotch, 1 cup, nice on the rock, like James Bond to be chilling. But let's get into the real action of the show, guys. Super Bowl, like I said, we talking about the Super Bowl. We got the matchup that we wanted to see. This is like the big dog versus the pup, the up-and-coming guy. Super Bowl LVIII, that's 58 in Roman numbers. I think I got that right, but just to make sure. Chiefs versus 49ers. Champ, you went into very detail about the storylines behind everything that's going on. Sometimes you can't even write a storyline that's perfect. That's why people start thinking this stuff be scripted because the storyline and coincidence, everything be so perfect. Chiefs versus 49ers. I want to go around the panel with you guys to see who you got and why. But Champ, I'm going because you're the guest. Who you got winning the Super Bowl and why?
Hey. I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers. I believe they are a team of destiny at this point, man. Look, you've overcame a lot. You've overcame 2 deficits in the playoffs. And Brock Purdy has proven himself not to be just a game manager. He has been a game changer in both of these games. Kyle Shanahan finally has the quarterback that he needs in order to make the plays, in order to get to the Super Bowl, in order to win the Super Bowl, excuse me. Not to mention, you have a cornerstone back that every time you've given him the ball at least 20 times, you've won the game. Go back and look it up. On their 4-game skid they had, they didn't give him the ball 20 times. So every time they've given Christian McCaffrey, run CMC that ball 20 times, they have won that game. So, and I think this is a time where he's learned from his mistakes. Kyle Shanahan has. And there's one thing that he didn't do in neither one of those games that he lost. There's one thing that he didn't do in the Atlanta Falcons game where he was the offensive coordinator. There's one thing he didn't do in that Super Bowl or that NFC Championship, and that was pound that rock and run that ball. You have a back with the capability of milking that clock and running that ball, and to be a main factor in the screen game, in the rollout game. You have a prime back. You have it. So now it's no excuse. I think this is finally the year that Kyle Shanahan breaks through. I think the quest for 6 ends for the San Francisco 49ers this week, and they finally catch that elusive 6th championship that they've been trying to get since the end of 1994 when they won their last one.
Okay, you made the case. I almost would be a believer, but I feel a little bit different. But we gonna get into it. Sean, who you got winning the Super Bowl and why?
I'm going with the team that has the 2nd overall ranked defense this season. I'm going with the team that, has played 3 very good playoff games against quality opponents, 2 on the road. And we came into this season questioning whether or not they could win a playoff game on the road if they had to, and they did. I'm going with the team that's got number 15 under center. I'm going with the team that has the head coach. When you give him 2 weeks to get ready, it's a problem.
Yeah.
I'm going with the team that has arguably this generation's best defensive coordinator nobody talks about. I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the 49ers are going to have to play a perfect game to win, and they're not going to play a perfect game against that team. I think if they get down, and the key for the Niners, and I'm not saying the Niners don't have a chance. Niners got a talented football team.
Yes.
I agree with you.
They got a chance.
They got a chance. But what scares me with the Niners is if they get down and they're not able to run the football, as Undisputed said, they're going to have a problem. If Purdy has to drop back and throw the football, and I'll take you back to when they played Baltimore late in the season, and Baltimore jumped out on them early, and they took that run option away. It was lights out for Purdy. And that Kansas City defense, a lot of those schemes they run basically a lot of simulation. They give you a lot of simulation looks pre-snap. They're going to send the fifth guy generally every snap. Sometimes they'll bring a sixth guy. I think San Francisco is going to struggle with that, especially if they're down. So the key for me for San Francisco is not even just Christian McCaffrey. You actually got to get Elijah Mitchell involved in this game.
Yes.
Run the football. Keep number 15 on the sideline. Do not try to make Brock Purdy's story end with him being the hero. It will not end well for you. Run the football. Kyle Shanahan, listen to me. In the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots, you were averaging 7 yards a carry, and you stopped running the football.
Sorry to bring up that trauma to you, champ. Sorry, champ.
No,
to bring up that trauma.
He telling the truth.
I know.
I'm serious. And y'all know, and SB, you know, we don't even call him Kyle Shanahan. We call him Mike's son because he ain't done nothing.
Yeah.
Right? You Mike's son till you do something. Do not lose this game. I know people are going to look at your defense. They're going to say, oh, the defense was the problem. Defense is the problem. You're supposed to have all those pieces on offense. You're supposed to have the best left tackle in football. When you run behind him, it's a problem. Right? So at the end of the day, the 49ers, if they're going to win this game, they cannot give the Chiefs extra possessions. They cannot let the Chiefs control time of possession. They cannot let the Chiefs on third down literally pin their ears back with Karlaftis and with Chris Jones. Those guys are coming.
Yep.
So 49ers, your game plan has to be, we are going to control the time of possession. We are going to win time of possession. And no disrespect to Dan Campbell and Matt LaFleur or Jordan Love and Jared Goff, but Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes ain't them.
That ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen.
Quick question for the panel, real quick. Doesn't this Steve Magnolia defense look just like the one that Andy Reid had up there in Philadelphia with Jimmy Johnson?
You know, he's Jim Johnson's disciple, to your point, right? Remember, the Giants hired him. He brought the same scheme to New York. They played against Tom, and you know, they had the scheme was basically, we're going to rush 4. We're not going to blitz him. We're going to drop 7. We're going to make him hold a football, right? Can you do that against Brock Purdy? Enough. And again, I think it starts with you got to keep Christian McCaffrey in check, right?
Yes.
He's going to hit you for 1 or 2. It's just Christian McCaffrey going to hit you for 1 or 2. You can't get out of pocket, right? The Ravens lost last week or 2 weeks ago because Gus Edwards would hit a couple, and then they stopped having the football. You get 6 running back carries. You're not beating the Chiefs. The 49ers have to resist the temptation to become pass heavy and too reliant on Brock Purdy because Spagnolia will eat that alive.
Right. Yeah. I thought that was just me.
No. You hit it right on the head, brother. And that's why I was like, don't try to get caught in the situation of making this of the greatest story of all time and try to make him look like more the hero than Patrick Mahomes. He ain't there yet. Even it's been plenty Super Bowls. And I'm gonna keep it the buck how it is. It's been plenty Super Bowls with the GOAT Tom Brady, who ain't do too much or nothing in that Super Bowl, but after like years later, they paint him as a superhero because he got this many amount of Super Bowls. So that because everybody think Tom Brady went off in every Super Bowl, and that's not the case. So you don't have to do that. You can still get your heroes hoorah if you just do your job. For me, guys, I'm sorry. Y'all hit up every point on the head, so I'm not going to be keep beating on a dead horse because both of y'all have great and excellent points. But I'm going to the Chiefs for the whole point of example that the 49ers has not shown me a bottle of consistency. Now, should the 49ers win? Yes. Is the 49ers a better roster? Yes. But those are the things where how they played in the first half against the Lions, you cannot do that. against the Chiefs. They're going to make you put for it. Those mistakes that you made against the Packers, or the Packers should have actually beat them, you can't do that against the Chiefs. Can you actually control and maintain the time of possession of the ball to keep Patrick Mahomes offside the field? I can't 100% guarantee you that. I know the Chiefs can, and the Chiefs just dominated the best defensive football in the Baltimore Ravens and made it look like Swiss cheese. Him and Travis Kelce had the over in the first half on the best defense in football. And so now you want me to come in here and look and be like, yeah, Brock Purdy and the 49ers, who should have lost the last 2 games, is gonna go against 15 and fix all the little minor problems that they had. I can't do it. I can't do it. And so I'm going to Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are just a safer pick, which is sad to say, because if you compare roster on paper, name by name, it shouldn't even be close. It shouldn't even be close. And everybody who's betting money, the Chiefs as the underdog is a steal right now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's got to be highway robbery, or it must be a trap. But I got to go with the Chiefs just because I think Patrick Mahomes is going to control the time possession. He's going to eliminate their defense. He's going to put the 49ers in a position where Christian McCaffrey can't save you. Brock Purdy, can you make a play? And with that being said, that brings us to the next point of the segment of the show is, can Brock Purdy take his game to the next level for the 49ers to win, or will he be a game manager? I say I don't believe he can. I don't. And because now when you got the aura of 15 sitting across from you, bad enough with, like you brought up, Champ, with the pressure of Cal Shanahan, got to get the job done. All this, the story, got to finish the story, Mr. Irrelevant, prove everybody wrong, prove you're not a game manager. It's too much. The pressure is on the 49ers to win. The only pressure that the Chiefs have, honestly, is that you just added more to the legacy. That what Patrick Mahomes, which you go talk about that too, and Andy Reid, you just added more to the legacy. The Chiefs are really going to the Super Bowl playing with house money. The pressure is all on the 49ers to get the job done, because now should Cal Shanahan be on the hot seat? If Brock Purdy don't play good, is he really that guy? You know, all those questions going to come into play. All this talent, you can't get the job done. So when I look at this, I don't believe Brock Purdy can't take his game to the next level. But if these guys come out and smack the Chiefs in the face early and control the time possession, have the Chiefs playing catch up and not them, then yes, Brock Purdy can win and manage the game. But if you ask him to be anything more than the game manager today, on Sunday, Patrick Mahomes getting another Super Bowl. But that's my question for you guys. Can Brock Purdy take his game to the next level, or will he be just a game manager during this game? Champ, you the guest. You go first.
Yeah, Champ.
We saw him do it 2 times over in the playoffs already, have we not? Saw him do it against the Green Bay Packers and saw him do it against the 50-50 Detroit Lions. Hey, people got to remember, in that game, he not only had over 200 yards passing, but he also had over 50 yards rushes during that game.
That's true.
He was the second leading rusher on that team, right along with Christian McCaffrey. So, and he put them in great field position, not once, but twice going down the field. So, I mean, he's proven time after time during the course of the season, of the playoffs, I would say, he has proven that he is not just simply a game manager. He can change the game when asked to. Now, at the same time, am I finna ask him to go out there and throw 50 passes?
No.
Absolutely. You're better off putting me around food and asking me not to eat it. So that's just being honest about it. So, hey, do not ask him to do too much. If it gets out of hand, I think that he can come from behind. He proved that he can. But don't go out here don't put him through what you put Matt Ryan through. Don't put him through what you put Jimmy Garoppolo through twice. Don't do that. And learn, hey, in the great words of someone famous and someone very wise, learn from your enemies. Do not laugh at them. Learn from the Baltimore Ravens. They made Lamar come out and throw the ball over 40 times. And it was to their detriment. And what did they not do? They made them turn away from the running game, which is something they was doing well all year long. So if that's any indication on what the 49ers need to do for this game, that's the indication. And they need to do that to open up the game. They need to go all 3 runs to even start the game. They don't even need to think about passing the first drive.
I like
Can I make a bold prediction?
Go ahead.
About this game, because I know you asked about Purdy, and I'll answer your question in a second. Isaiah Pacheco will have a bigger impact on this game than Christian McCaffrey, because I think the Chiefs are going to lock in on make Brock Purdy beat you. Meaning they're one of the better run defenses, have been one of the better run defenses this season. They're going to manage Christian McCaffrey. It's going to be a lot of Brock Purdy. Can you beat us? One thing I think people not talking about enough is Snead from the Chiefs has been playing at an all-pro level this year.
Yes, he has.
If I were a betting man, I would say he probably end up on Ayuk. But that said, can Brock Purdy be accurate enough to make the throws when he needs to make the throws consistently? And also, again, Kittle has not been a huge factor. He's, he made a couple catches, and I know Juszczyk, comes in and makes some plays for him. Can they get Kittle more involved to open up that middle of the field? Because, and SB, I've said this to you before, I think the Chiefs have arguably the best linebacker duo nobody talks about in Gay and Bolton. Those guys fly. They get after. They are dogs. And behind them, you have Justin Reed at safety, who, again, is a little underrated, but is very good at safety. So, and I expect, again, that Spags is going to come out. He's going to get them some unique looks, of course, but their primary thing is keep Christian McCaffrey in check. And, I don't know if this is true, but I heard Bart Scott say this. He said, in a game like this, you got to nail the other team's best player early. Can somebody nail Patrick Mahomes early, like from the 49ers, to make them say, okay, yeah, this is going to be a real game? Can the Chiefs nail Christian McCaffrey early to say, okay, yeah, we're not playing today?
Like, you take a chance on getting a penalty, hitting them, nailing them, like just to let them know we here. You just take a penalty early, just to let them know we here.
I mean, sometimes it's worth it, but obviously you don't want to do it.
It ain't worth it. Don't do it. Leave them alone.
Hey, I played offensive line. Ain't nothing worth a penalty because I'm gonna get mad.
Well, no, I'm not saying be dirty. I'm just saying you come downhill and you get in that gap and you try to knock him on his what. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Something like that. And again, it's one of those situations where, again, you're not likely to do it with the quarterback, because the quarterback, obviously, we know how they put bubble wrap around these NFL quarterbacks.
Yes, they do.
But at the end of the day, somebody's got to set a tone early in the game to kind of say, hey, we're here. Which team is going to do that? Which guy is going to do that, particularly on the defensive side?
But before you answer the question, too, who need to do that? The main guy that they've been complaining about was not showing no effort. Who they talking about, bitch? If Chase Young come out and make a play and set the tone, that'll probably set the 49ers on fire with all the bad energy going around here. I think if Chase Young was the guy to do it, I think the 49ers could come out on fire and then make some noise happen. But, Sean, ask a question. Can Brock Purdy take his game to the next level, or will he just be a game manager on Sunday?
The latter.
I know that.
You know what Brock Purdy is? Brock Purdy is that kid whose first car is a Range Rover.
That's true, though.
Everything, a brand new Range Rover. Everything is right. You got all the bells and whistles. You got the heated seats. You got everything you need right around you. Your only job is don't wreck it.
Like Tua did, right?
Yeah,
right.
Like Tua did. Like Tua did.
Don't wreck it. He didn't take over a used Corolla. He got a Range Rover.
Brock Purdy in the range is crazy. But we talk about Brock Purdy, though, guys. Let's talk about the other side. Obviously, we got this guy, Patrick Mahomes. Shout out. I can't say shout out him because he just got in trouble, didn't he? His dad always say smoking on somebody. He be smoking on Joe Burrow, smoking on Lamar. And now he been smoking on so many different quarterbacks, taking his game to the next level, going to different bowls and everything like that. Now he's getting added in that conversation of the GOAT conversation. One of the hottest starts we done seen since like Tom Brady when it comes to winning. I believe this is fourth Super Bowl, 5 conference championships in 6 years? Because technically his first year he really was on a bench. So really, every time Mahomes been in his career, he at least been in a conference championship. 1 year he wasn't really in the bowl. If Patrick Mahomes wins this one, where is he at in the all-time great quarterback conversation? Because a lot of people already said because he's so talented, he might be the GOAT. But I think it's too early. You got to respect the work that people put in. But if he get this one with this team, who ain't as talented as he is, you got Kadarius Toney over there, most drop passes as a wide receiver on your team, and all you got Travis Kelce really on offense and Pachinko, and then defense ain't really the same. What is the conversation?
He's number 3.
Oh,
he's number 3. Right behind it. It's Brady, Montana, then Patrick Mahomes.
Because people overpaid and everything. Okay.
Because I will say this. People don't understand this, and people been giving me heat the last 3 weeks for saying Montana at 2. But people don't realize Montana won 2 Super Bowls without Jerry Rice.
That he did.
Yes. Can you guys tell me who Freddie Solomon is?
Mm-hmm. I mean, Sean can.
Look, sure. You probably can, OG. But
Sean can.
These days can't tell me who Freddie Solomon is. They can't tell me who Clark is. The only thing they know him as is the catch. He only had 1 Pro Bowl. A lot of guys, Wendell Tyler. People tell me who Wendell Tyler is. I mean, none of these guys on that offensive side of the ball, those first 2 Super Bowls are in the Hall of Fame. None of them. So my thing is, and on the defensive side of the ball, hey, that was a great defense. So it's really the West Coast offense and the great defense those first 2 years. Because remember, because he won without Charles Haley as well. Charles Haley didn't get there to 87. John Taylor didn't get there to 87. Kevin Fagan didn't get there to 87. Don McKyer didn't get there to 87. A lot of those players that from the great 49ers of the 80s didn't get there until after 1986. So, hey, he won with different teams just like Tom Brady did. So, and the only 2 Hall of Famers that were on that first 2 Super Bowls, as far as the defense is concerned, is Lott and Fred Dean. So you have to take that into consideration as well. Not to mention this, people don't understand this. In the 80s, defense was a whole nother ball game.
Yes, it was.
You had, if you say Lawrence Taylor, you can almost stop there. But I'm going to tell you something. Montana had a team in his own division by the name of the New Orleans Saints. And OG, you probably know where I'm finna go here. They had a team by the name of the Dome Patrol. And them guys wasn't no joke.
No joke.
All three of the 4 all 4 of the linebackers made all pro. 3 of them are going into the Hall of Fame. So he had to face those guys twice a year. Yeah. Not to mention you had to face the Philadelphia Eagles with Reggie White. You had to face the 85 Bears. I mean, you can realize the Bears, the 85 Bears wasn't even their best team.
Yeah.
The very next year, they had 77 sacks.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, dog.
They had 77 sacks. And Steve Mongo McMichael, just to prove how good they was, he just went into the Hall of Fame. So you had 3 Hall of Fame defensive linemen on that team alone. Not to mention, people forget about the Minnesota Vikings with Chris Doleman, Joey Browner, Jack Del Rio, all those guys. Defense was at its premium back then. Not to mention the Washington football team or whatever their name is this week. They might change it next week again.
Yeah, they might change it again.
So the Washington Commanders back then, they was a dynasty within themselves. Yeah. They was winning during that time. So the NFC was no joke when it came to defensive ball. And you had to go through them every single year. I remember in a playoff game when they faced the Eagles when they was at their peak with Randy Cunningham, Joe Montana got sacked 11 times. Running game was minus 11 with Roger Craig and Tom Rathman at the helm. And guess what? Joe Montana still won the game. And the game was so bad at halftime, their offensive line coach went up to Joe Montana and apologized because of how bad he was doing. No, I'm serious. Go back and look at it. The offensive line went out and apologized The offensive line coach went up to Joe Montana, hey, man, said, I'm sorry that you're getting beat on. And he looked at the coach right in his eyes and said, don't worry about it. We're going to win the game anyway. And they couldn't, and they stopped the run with Tom Rathman and Roger Craig. And that 89 team was arguably one of the greatest teams of all time. I put that team up against any team as far as 49ers is concerned. But, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is talented. I will give him that. I will give him all the credit in the world, man. We have not seen a guy just come in this hot, just on a tear nearly every year. I haven't seen this since Montana. Because if you remember correctly, with Montana, he was at least his first couple of years, all that second year during the strike shortened season, you know, they didn't make the playoff, but it was a sprint, not a marathon. Right. He was on a tear during the entire 80s. I mean, and I have not seen a guy just come in this hot since those two guys, Tom Brady and Joe Montana. Those guys are just pure jazz. But I got to give it to Brady and Montana. Montana's my GOAT, but
I respect
it's Brady, Montana, and then Mahomes. Now, if he comes back next year and wins that fourth one and do something that nobody has ever done before and do that three-peat, that's a whole nother ball game we're talking about right about there. Then we can put him, you know, up there a little bit more. But, you know, it's still a question about that. And, you know, it's safe to say, and people don't want to talk about this, but you'll hear it from me in another video soon. It's safe to say if one player doesn't get in trouble on that Kansas City Chiefs team, they might have ran the table 6 in a row. Because remember, Kareem Hunt got in trouble during that MVP season, and they were forced to release him.
Yeah, that
got released in the middle of the season. That really, really hurt him when they got into the playoffs.
Yeah, they missed him in the playoffs. They definitely missed him in the playoffs. That'd be crazy. He ran to the bowl. That he been in the bowl every year his career in the beginning. That'd be crazy. But,
so you know, my thing, SB, is I don't rank guys who are still writing their resume.
Okay.
Obviously, we understand the talent that Patrick Mahomes is. I will not dispute his talent. He is the best quarterback in the league. He is the best quarterback of his generation, without question. But where he ranks all time, I want to, when he's closer to the end of his career and you know it's winding down, that's when I will say, okay, this is where I have him ranked. But also, you know, Miami SB, I separate GOAT from GWOAT because I think the GWOAT, without question, the greatest winner of all time is Tom Brady at the position. Without question. He's the GWOAT. But is he the best I've ever seen play the position? No.
Okay.
No. You know me. 13 in Miami is the best I've ever seen play the position. And he was on a very similar tear individually that Mahomes is on now. He just didn't have the team success that Mahomes is having, which again is that reminder football is the ultimate team sport. But 13 in Miami was different. You know, he was. I watched film of him now, and I'm like, man, he was making throws back then. And it was like, come on, man. Like,
yeah, Marino was nice. Was nice.
So, but definitely, I mean, obviously, you know, for the sake of sports media, we understand there's going to be an all-time conversation around Patrick Mahomes, as there should be, because of the run that he and the Chiefs are on. But also, I think what will be interesting, and this is where I separate Montana from the others, is Montana also did it without a non-Hall of Fame coach, even though the team was built. He did it without a non-Hall of Fame coach in George Seifert, because we saw what Seifert was when he went to Carolina and couldn't coach a paper bag, literally. So
why you had to do George like that?
No, I just call it like it is. Hey, listen, you know, anybody can do great when you're in the right space, but can you go somewhere else and recreate that? And he could not only not recreate it, he was terrible. It was like, is this the same guy? Like, it didn't even make sense. You know, like, you know.
You think that's why he's not in the Hall of Fame right now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep asking. It wasn't until you said that I started realizing, wait a minute, he did do a horrible job up there in Carolina.
It was bad. Like, it was like I think they might. I don't know if they went 2-14 one year.
Yeah, they went 1-15. They beat the Rams the first game and then win the game the whole year.
It was like, my God. But anyway, I'm sorry. But no, so with Montana, where I separate him, and again, nothing against Brady. Obviously, the majority of Brady's success we know was with Belichick. We know he went to Tampa. They won, beat Mahomes and them in the Super Bowl. Anyway, the circumstances notwithstanding, we understand that. But so what will be interesting for me with Mahomes is how much longer does Andy Reid coach, and what does he do post Andy Reid? Because we're talking about Andy Reid now in the conversation of the best head coaches ever.
Right.
And you have that combined with Pat Mahomes. Obviously, that's a huge part of their success. But also, they just built a really good football team. This team, particularly on the defensive side, is built to sustain, I think, for some time because they're really young on that side of the football, outside of really Chris Jones. So, yeah, I just think he's going to be in that conversation. But again, for me, I want to see what he does, continuing into his career.
For me, I think by far Mahomes probably is like one of the most talented quarterbacks we ever seen. So if you're talking about from a talent perspective, he's already probably like top 3, top 5 for sure. If he wins this other one, respectfully, he'll solidify himself as the top 5 quarterback all the time. He already put himself in there. Because you know how I am. I also like respect the work that other guys put in. Like I respect the work of the Paytons, the Drew Breeses, the Marinos, the Joes, Warren Moons, those guys, just to name a few. Because I just feel like even though you had so much success in the beginning of your career, what if like Mahomes go for the 3-peat, right? And then just everything else after that go downhill? We might have a different conversation there. Because they'd be like, yeah, you had a hard start, but everything else ended bad. You know what I'm saying? He don't win no more. He have bad games in the playoffs. Then that whole conversation changed. Like even, not switch to basketball. Like I seen it happen to Kobe Bryant. With Kobe Bryant from like that whole run that he went on a run with Gasol. Oh, yeah, it's the second greatest thing. That's the Michael Jordan and everything. And then that back end happened when he was injured. The Lakers didn't look the same. They was losing. The conversation changed. Now, people don't think he top 10 all the time. And that goes to show, like, it depends on – we can't always live in the moment, Sean. That's why you say you got to wait till they finish. So I do respect that. But if I do think if he was to win this, I think he'll solidify himself as a top 5 quarterback all time. At minimum 5, maybe 6, just because off his talent alone is good, because that's what people argue with Brady. Like, yeah, Brady won a lot, but he's not as talented. He won, he's getting close to winning just as much as Brady, and he's 2-time talented. He's like, I feel like it's best to say, but it's true. He's what everybody wanted Aaron Rodgers to be with his talent. I'm sorry. Because when Aaron Rodgers got to that point, I know you didn't look like what you mean, because Aaron Rodgers sat down, and once he got to the point where we realized, oh, this guy's one of the most talented quarterbacks we ever seen. I expect him to win 2 or 3 Super Bowls, but he didn't live up to expectation. He only got that one, and he choked in the playoffs. So that's all.
Yeah.
But also, because I got to keep moving, I know, Champ, you got to leave in like a couple minutes. Lamar Jackson wins the MVP. I have a problem. It's not that Lamar got the MVP. I'm cool with it. My problem stems from that Dak Prescott finished second over Christian McCaffrey. Because they said the order went Lamar, Dak, Purdy, McCaffrey. I think they said Purdy and McCaffrey was tied at third. But it sounded like you was trying to sneak Purdy over there. And my only problem is that, like, Christian McCaffrey was so impactful. Yes, I know he had a better season in Carolina, but his impact on the 49ers was so valuable. He was by far the second best player for the MVP. If you're going to give it to Lamar Jackson, it's cool, because I was arguing C.J. Stroud. I was arguing Christian McCaffrey. But I'm just saying, because we're going to get to a point where we're going to look at this MVP as just QB VP. You know what I'm saying? Because it starts to like it's the most valuable quarterback award. And that's all it feels like to me. Shout out to Lamar Jackson for winning it, though. I respect Lamar Jackson winning it. Back-to-back MVPs. Him and Patrick Mahomes, the only black back-to-back MVP quarterbacks. Shout him out for that. But that's my only problem that I have with the MVP, that Dak Prescott finished second over Christian McCaffrey not being number 2 is a highway robbery for me. What's y'all reaction to Lamar Jackson winning his second MVP?
History, man. History. Man, look, I always say this, man. History is a fact. Not a warning, not a question, but a fact. And people can say all they want to about running quarterbacks, but yeah, guess what? He has been doing a hell of a lot more as far as with the skill position. As far as some of his skill position players with a hell of a lot less. People don't even realize, man, he hasn't had his star tight end all season.
Yeah,
he hasn't had his star running back all season.
It's not.
So he hasn't. I mean, although Zay Flowers has been doing did pretty good this season. He's a rookie. Odell Beckham, he's pretty much on the dark side of his career at this point. So for people to say, well, he has weapons, that is a false narrative. I mean, so he doesn't have those weapons. And for people to keep saying this, and I have to point this out, for people to keep saying, well, he's a two-time MVP, yet he choked in the playoffs. Guess what? Peyton Manning did the same thing and lost the NFC Championship. And guess what? He had 3 Hall of Famers on his at the skill position: Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, Edgerrin James. Not to mention one of the forgotten players of that. Not to mention 2 of the forgotten players on that. Maybe 3. You had Dominique Rose, who became a Pro Bowler when Edgerrin James got hurt. He was in that backfield.
Yes, he was.
You had Brandon Stokely, who was a Super Bowl winner for the 2000 Ravens, who was a hell of a slot receiver. Not to mention Marcus Pollard and Dallas Clark at the tight end position. You had weapons galore.
Yes, he did.
You had more weapons than anybody could ever muster. You came into a situation where you were set up perfectly to succeed, yet you didn't. Peyton Manning didn't win his first Super Bowl until 2006. He entered the league in 1998. So let's stop acting like we ain't seen this before. Well, he had a great defense. Yes, he did. But as far as, if you really look at that team, as far as offensive weapons is concerned, Lamar is all they have. Lamar is all they have. Like I said, we've seen a quarterback that is talented go on these MVP type tears and still not win a Super Bowl. Hell, we saw Peyton Manning do it twice. Yeah. We saw him have a hell of a season in Denver and win and lost the Super Bowl by a wide margin. We saw him throw for almost 50 touchdowns in 2004 and then lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers in a divisional round. One and done, you're out of there. So we've seen MVP. Hey, not to mention before he won the Super Bowl in 1994, Steve Young was considered a choker in the playoffs. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So let's not act like we can't see a maturation process happen. Let's stop acting like we can't see these quarterbacks grow and become something great. Become something greater than what they already are. We've had playoff chokers in the playoff. And let's not just call them chokers. Hey, man, look, some days the teams are just better than you are. How can you get mad at losing against one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time? How can you hold that against them?
It's true.
You got a top 3 quarterback and you lose against him, but you're a playoff choker. Granted, it's your job to beat them, but sometimes you run into a dynasty. Look at what happened with the Buffalo Bills. You ran into 2 dynasties. You ran into the Washington football team and you ran into the Dallas Cowboys all in the same sitting. And not to mention the New York Giants. Sometimes it's just not your time. Sometimes it's just not your day. And for people to keep calling it playoff choker, he's a running quarterback. We've seen quarterbacks with immense talent and immense weapons come up short in the playoffs. We've seen it before. And you got to remember, Steve Young was the heir apparent to Joe Montana. He had Jerry Rice. He had John Taylor. He had Ricky Waters. He had William Floyd.
Yeah.
So a lot of quarterbacks were set up for success, and they still didn't do it. You were set up for success when Joe Montana got hurt and got shipped off to Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Peyton Manning was set up for success when he first got to Indianapolis. Remember, Marshall Faulk was there when he first got there.
Yep.
And Marvin Harrison.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And say what you want about Jim Mora. Jim Mora was the coach of the Dome Patrol.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And before people say, well, Peyton Manning never had defense, that's a flat out lie as well. Dwight Freeney, Hall of Famer. He just went in.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Mathis, Hall of Famer. Marcus Washington, Cato June, Nick Harper. So a lot of guys were set up to win. It was just not their day. Hell, Andy Reid lost 3 NFC championships and a Super Bowl. You lost against the greatest show on turf in the St. Louis Rams, arguably one of the greatest offenses of all time. You lost against the Tampa Bay Bucks, arguably the greatest defense of all time. You finally make it to the Super Bowl in that third year, only to lose to the New England Patriots. What's the shame in that? It's just not your time.
I respect that.
I wish I had some money to put in the collection plate because he just preached.
He was just preaching. He was just preaching. He was just preaching. My brother was just preaching right there. Shout out my brother Champ.
Oh man. Let me throw out a couple names here. Champ mentioned one, Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was a 2-time MVP before they finally won the Super Bowl. There's a poster behind you, SB, 2-time MVP before winning the NBA Finals.
Yes.
Steve Young, mentioned him as well. Alex Rodriguez, multi-time MVP before winning a World Series. Sometimes the individual accolades come before you achieve the team accolades. That is the nature of sports. And don't let the first mistakes and the get up too earlys and the undisputed, which is horrible to watch, and a lot of these and Colin Cowturds and the skip bases tell you otherwise. Sometimes the individual accolades come before the team accomplishment happens.
That's true.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I like the whole Colin Cowturd. That was awesome.
Yeah. So please stop with this. Oh, he's got to get this done. He's got to get that done. Nobody wants to win it more than number 8 for the Baltimore Ravens.
He was sick when they lost.
That's all he cares about. Right? That's all he cares about. He had a great regular season. That team had a great regular season. They ran up against a potential dynasty. You know who they remind me of? An SB. I might have said this to you the other night, but they remind me of the late 80s, early 90s Bulls. They were a very good team. They had to figure out how to get past Detroit. This Baltimore team is going to have to figure out how to get past Kansas City. That is their Detroit Pistons.
Everybody in the AFC gonna have to figure that out.
Right. But I'm just saying, when we look at Baltimore, that's their next test. How do we get past this potential dynasty? Right. We just said this man has never not played in a conference championship game.
Yeah.
This man is going for 3 out of 4 Super Bowls on Sunday. That's a dynasty, y'all. That is hard to get over dynasties. So
gotta hope it in.
He's the MVP. He earned it. And ironically, I know you said McCaffrey should have been second. Ironically, McCaffrey, the year that I thought McCaffrey was more of an MVP candidate was 2019. The same year he lost to Lamar. He had a really good year this year, not taking anything away from him. But I think, again, him and Purdy are going to take votes from each other. That's just the nature of playing on a team like that. But, let's stop with this. You can't keep winning MVPs. And, sometimes you win the individual awards before the team accomplishment happens. And whether you recognize it or not, hoisting a Super Bowl trophy, hoisting an NBA championship, the Larry O'Brien trophy, hosting a World Series trophy, hoisting the Stanley Cup is a team accomplishment. Individual players got to play their part. They got to do their job, but it's a team accomplishment.
Yeah. Hey, and if you want to go deeper, hell, not even Wayne Gretzky could carry the Los Angeles Kings to a Stanley Cup.
He could. He's by far the greatest hockey player ever, and nobody's questioning that.
His nickname is the Great One.
The great one. He's so great that he don't even like the name.
Yeah.
He don't like the name. He don't like the name at all. Speaking of great players, Sean, we're gonna probably give more to it. Kind of champ, you gotta leave in like 5 minutes.
Oh, take time, man. We got time.
Okay, cool. The Pro Football Hall of Fame class was announced in 2024, was revealed at the NFL Honors. A lot of names on here I'm happy to see, especially one name in particular, which I'm going to go on my soliloquy on in a second. Got Dwight Freeney, Devin Hester, Andre Johnson, Peppers, P. Will, Randy, Steve McMichaels. A lot of great names on this list. A lot of real worthy players. Randy and Steve are the seniors, so they kind of like the older guys. They should have been probably got on. I believe Freeney, Hester, Johnson, Peppers, and was this they first ballot, right? I believe all of them are first ballot, correct?
No, not first ballot, but this is their first. They were all finalists at one point.
Finalists, okay, first time finalists. Okay, cool. For me, and I want to hear you guys like what you think about the list, and then also I want to hear what name were you happy to see on this list, and then maybe was it a name that you guys like thought would have made it? For me, I think they kind of hit the list on the head. It's pretty nice. I like that. I know Champ, because I like the Rams, but I ain't gonna take your answer because you talked about it before the show, so I'm gonna let you do your soliloquy on him. 100% for me is Devin Hester. Being from Chicago, and like people don't understand, I do support the Bears sometimes. This is when I was really rocking with the Bears. I have never seen a guy in Devin Hester where they told you to not do your job and to don't give him the ball. Your job is to kick the ball to the player. They know, do not kick him the ball. I watched the season of Devin Hester in the Chicago Bears where the Bears offense was literally one chance with Devin Hester. And that one chance, he'll probably score. So literally the Bears used to have games where they'd be like, Devin Hester might have ran two back and they had two pick sixes. That's their 20-some points that game. Or if Devin Hester might have ran one back, the defense might got a fumble. They won 14-3. That because that was around that great Bears defense with Urlacher, Lance Briggs, and those boys. But Devin Hester is by far, I feel like, because people want to crap on certain positions that you play, you do your job. I don't care. If you are the greatest at your position, you should be anointed and you should be put in Hall of Fame. I don't care if it's a punter. I don't care if it's a kicker. I don't even care if it's the long snapper. If you are the greatest long snapper, put him in the Hall of Fame, motherfucker, because you are the greatest. They tried to downplay my boy position because he was a kick returner, a special team specialist, a return specialist, and he should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't care. This man, Randy Moss, Devin Hester is easily, no question asked, with a lot of great kick returners, a lot of great returners in the league, by far is the greatest returner. The most magical moment I've seen in football for me as a fan, opening Super Bowl versus the Colts. I have never seen the most magical moment in football history. A man ran a kick return back the first play of the Super Bowl. You can't write that, bro. You can't write that. And it was crazy, Sean, watching Chicago. I swear, it sounded like the whole city of Chicago sounded like the stadium. You heard everybody yelling. When that play happened, it sounded like we was in the stadium watching the game because you heard everybody household going crazy. So I'm very proud to say that Devin Hester made it, and he well deserved made it. That's my pick for the one, and I'm happy that he got in. Champ.
The main guy that I'm happy about that he made it, man, and I'm going to go old school. I got to say Randy Gradishaw. One of the first middle linebackers to play in the 3-4 defense with the Orange Crush. For you to be considered one of the greatest linebackers during the 70s, when you had Jack Lambert, Andy Russell, just to name a few, back then, Thomas Hollywood Henderson, for you to be considered one of the greatest defensive players back then and to revolutionize playing in the 3-4 defense, because they was the only team playing in the 3-4 back then. For you to revolutionize playing in that defense and for you to be the best at it is nothing short of amazing. You practically revolutionized the game of football playing in that defense. That was beautiful. I have to say Randy Gradishaw. Also, shout out to, SB, Steve Mungo McMichael, man. I'm so happy they got him. Everybody knows he's suffering from ALS. Hey, my heart goes out to him. Hey, I first saw him as a wrestler, not as a football player. I was only 11 years old when he was he had retired, but I saw him. It wasn't until I saw him as a wrestler, because he always wore the Chicago Bears jacket. And I kept asking my father who he was. Shout out to my dad. I I kept asking my father who he was. I'm like, Dad, who is he? That's Steve McMichael. He was like, I'm not going to tell you. You're going to go to the library. You're going to research who he is. Yeah. And when I found out he played for that 1985 Bears team, I basically went wild. Not to mention, man, the best feud he ever had in wrestling was with Reggie White and Goldberg. So you know, I remember when they started calling him Lead Pipe McMichael because he literally hit Goldberg in the back of the head with a lead pipe right before Starcade. So
yeah, right before Starcade,
yeah, right before Starcade. So I mean, I'm so happy that they put those two guys in the Hall of Fame because they definitely had a huge impact on the game. And I don't think a lot of, and I say it, man, you know, I think there's a lot of age bias when it comes to the Hall of Fame as well. Too much bias when you say it. There's a lot of guys who are waiting to get in the Hall of Fame that were just awesome. Back then, because people don't want to pay homage, back then you were voted by your peers to go to the Pro Bowl, by your peers and the coaches that you played against to get to the Pro Bowl. You wasn't voted by fans.
Right, yep.
And I'm pretty sure people are going to say it's the same popularity contest. No, it's not. It's not even close. When you are voted by your peers for something great as the Pro Bowl back then, when you see a guy like Jesse Tuggle, who was, oh man, he got Bodie as a screensaver. Nice. I'm a Wire fan, my bad. Guys that were voted like Ed Too Tall Jones, the first HBCU graduate to ever be drafted first overall, that's not in the Hall of Fame, and yet he was a Pro Bowler back then when you were voted by your peers and your coaches and opposing coaches. You know, back then they did not like each other. There wasn't all of this jersey switching and lovey-dovey love fest back then that you see now. So for you to get voted to a Pro Bowl back then, especially when you had guys like, you know, Jack Youngblood, who was playing on a broken leg back then, you know, hey, that's the short of amazing. So for those two guys who have a lasting legacy in the NFL to get voted in, hey, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, I like that they got in too. Sean, who you on your list too?
So definitely Stevie Michael. You know, as a young kid, my favorite, I think you know this SB about me. My favorite athlete is Walter Payton. Is every time I played him, I always wanted to wear 34 because I love Walter Payton. But that Bears defense was full of so many personalities, and Stevie Michael was probably one of the biggest ones. He got the nickname Mongo. If you never, SB, I'm going to say a throwback movie for you if you've never watched it. There's a movie called Blazing Saddles. It's a Mel Brooks movie. It's hilarious. There's a character in the movie named Mongo. And Mongo, ironically, in the movie is played by Alex Karras, who played in the NFL for many years and known for playing the dad on Webster for many years. Anyway, so Mongo, he's like this wild, crazy. He punches out a horse.
I beg your pardon?
In the movie.
Whoa, okay. I'm doing my research.
So you can understand why Steve, if you know anything about Stevie Michael, you know why he got that nickname, because he was wild. The fact that he got drafted by the Patriots, ended up getting cut, and then going on to the Bears and becoming a big part of that 80s defense. I mean, it's just a super great story, and obviously the fact that he's ailing now, and he's gotten this honor, I think is great. But the other guy for me that I'm glad got in is Patrick Willis.
Shout out P Dubs.
When I first saw him at Ole Miss, I was like, this, and I know it's gonna sound sacrilegious to say, I thought he was better than Ray Lewis, honestly.
At Ole Miss, you said potential, so you pretty much said the potential to be it because at Ole Miss, that wasn't crazy. This man, no,
he wasn't that big neither.
Yeah, he wasn't that big.
He was only 5'11".
Yeah, could he fly and would knock you out? And the fact that his career got cut short because of the toe issues and foot injuries.
Yeah,
but he, for the 7 years he played, he put in work, and you knew when 52 was coming down the line, you better be on your A game because he was getting ready to bring some wood. So I'm so glad he got in. No, shout out to all the other guys who got in. Obviously, love Andre Johnson. Love the whole
shout out Peps too.
Julius Pep, who did it for a long time. But for me, it was for a guy to get his career cut short and still be recognized as one of the best to ever do it is P-Dub.
P-Dub, I like that too. And Chad, before it's two, I got two more questions for you before then I'm gonna let you go ahead and go. I know you got to do another show. Obviously, it's been a lot of things going on about your Atlanta Falcons. Because you guys was the front runner to get Bill Belichick. He had 2 interviews with you guys. Then it came out like y'all turned Bill Belichick down. Then it came out that Belichick didn't accept the offer. Now they was trying to say like maybe Bill Belichick asked for too much. That's why he didn't take the offer. So he said the Falcons owner said Bill Belichick did not ask for roster control. And then also, are you happy with the hiring of Coach Morris?
Yes, he was there before. I mean, he was there before. I mean, there was a lot of questions about him before because, I'm trying to put this in a good way because, we're trying to make this feasible for all audiences. You can't, when you are the boss, you can attest for this, OG. When you're the boss, you can't be hanging out with the workers. And that was the problem when he was the interim head coach, when Dan Quinn was unfortunately fired. So, you can't be going to the pubs, and if you know Atlanta like I know it, those ain't pubs. So you can't be going to the pubs with the guys, trying to shoot the breeze. You got to be, and I think that was a turnoff for ownership during his first go round. And keep in mind, during that time, he was only 32 years old. So some of the players on the squad older than you are. So, I mean, it's easy to do that. Young. Yeah, it's easy to do that when you're coming from the defensive coordinator to, you're trying to relate to these guys. But for him to come back after getting all this good coaching up under his belt and a lot of guys vouching for him at this point, like Jalen Ramsey and guys like that, I think it's a good deal. Plus, first black coach in Atlanta Falcons history. Like I said, history not a warning, not a question, but a fact. And especially for a city like Atlanta, for you to never have a black head coach, that's huge. Not to mention, man, not to mention, I can't wait. The only thing that's holding Atlanta back is the quarterback position.
Agreed.
That's the only thing that's holding us back. So with Rich McKay up out the door, which I'm so happy he's out of there, that was I'm not going to say he was a terrible GM or president, but I mean, some draft picks didn't make sense. I mean, for you to take a Vic Beasley over a Todd Gurley made no sense. I mean, for you to draft some of the defensive players where you had other players available made no sense. So I'm glad that Terry Fontenot really looks like that he knows exactly what he's doing. He did Atlanta and the state of Georgia a very good service by getting rid of Arthur Smith, especially because he didn't know his brain from a hole in the ground. He wasn't worth the salt in the bread. So he did the city of Atlanta and the entire Atlanta Falcons fan base a service by getting rid of him at the right time, because this team is on the up and up. And if they do this right and they plug the right quarterback in there like they are supposed to do,
Justin Fields on the way.
Yeah. Like I said, hey, man, like we say down south, what's supposed to happen and what's going to happen, two different things. So if they plug the right quarterback in that system with Drake London, that two-back system, because if you really want to be honest with us, us and the Steelers are the same team. Both have good defensive, both have a two-back system, both have good wide receivers, good tight end. Only thing you need is a quarterback that's going to open up that offense to the point where you can't key in on none of those weapons.
So let me say just real quick, just to your point. Yeah, I think Raheem, part of it was when he was in Tampa, he got the job very young as well. That was part of the issues, that he was around the same age as some of the players. So again, he was hanging out, all that other stuff, blah, blah, blah. Certainly he's matured. He's married now, which I think, plays a difference, whether people will agree with it or not.
It looks better on paper when you got the ring on your hand. You ain't wilding.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you married, you got kids. Like, you're not thinking about, going to Magic City. You're thinking about.
I was trying to avoid.
Yeah,
nah, you good, look, man. Look.
I mean, well, maybe you think about it, but you don't go because you got kids.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it. The fact that the Falcons have, a black head coach, but also a black general manager, and that they seem to really have a real grasp of what that power structure needs to look like for that organization, I think is a huge deal. I'm a bit conflicted because I am a fan of, the team in New Orleans. I want to see Raheem do well because he is a black head coach, and I want to see Fontenot do well from New Orleans. But obviously, I don't want them to beat my Saints because we can't get rid of our idiot coach for some reason, and y'all got rid of y'all's. I'm so jealous. To be frank.
And you got John Gruden coming to town.
Yeah, I mean, Arthur Smith, when I watch Arthur Smith is like that kid when you was younger that would come in the lunchroom and everybody would hurry to eat their food because they don't want to sit at the table with him.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on there, guys? Like, he's like that guy. So, yeah, y'all got rid of him, and I think you got a competent coach, and also the division's wide open. So to your point, you get a quarterback, and again, we can talk about who that quarterback might be, whether it's via trade, free agency. I don't think drafting a quarterback, unless you're going to trade up to get Caleb or one of those guys, really makes sense. I think you get the right, young veteran or young veteran guy to come in. That guy could have a Baker Mayfield or a Geno Smith type resurgence there. If you trade with Justin Fields, that's another conversation. I don't know. But I do think, like you said, Atlanta's just a quarterback away and just competent coaching, because there were a lot of games you watched this year that the Falcons lost purely because they got flat out coached.
Yeah, he's because the village idiot was in town.
I watched a lot of games y'all lost. I'm just like, why y'all not handing B. John Robinson the ball? That was.
Y'all re-signing Cam? Have y'all re-signed Cam already?
Cam who?
Cam Jordan.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
No, I was just asking because I was hoping we could steal him from him.
Y'all can have him because he's looking real old right about now.
Yeah. Also, I want you guys who are watching, if you're not, I definitely tagged my boy in the title of the video, but go ahead. Champ is known for TikTok. He moved to YouTube, so go subscribe to his channel. Tell the people about your channel, and then also, when do you go live? I gotta catch your live. Like when I see your live, it'd be like after your stream. I'll be like, fuck, I missed it, bro. But so tell the people about your channel, and then tell them when you go live or when you plan to go live.
Hey, Undisputed Go podcast live every Thursday at 9 p.m. It's been a little bit shorter the past couple of weeks because I've been paying attention to free agency and football, and we've been paying attention to the road to WrestleMania. So the podcast has been a little bit shorter, but we on show 3 at this point. Shout out to all the panel that comes through, especially my main man PSP, always coming through on the show. Brandon from the block, all the guys coming in from the chat, Aiden, everybody else like that. So shout out to those guys. Hell of a panel every single Thursday, man. But we try to this is the first couple shows on YouTube. They've been a success so far, especially considering I've been hosted by myself. But after episode 7, I will have a co-host. And if you think I'm good at what I do, I grew up with this guy.
Okay.
He is just as good, if not better. And he's an Auburn fan. So when the season begins during SEC week, you will see the rival shirts on there. So when we bring them in, we will have some hell of a debates on SEC Media Week. So
I'm about to pull up on him. Tell him roll tide. I'm about to pull up on him. Tell him roll tide. How we going to roll tide, baby?
Oh, funny story about him. Shout out to my man C. Reed. Mm-hmm. Funny story about him. Remember 2004, Auburn went undefeated.
Right.
Auburn went undefeated. They had their coin flip to decide who's going to go to the national championship. So they didn't make the national championship that year. So I called him 2 years later when I got shipped overseas when I was in the Army. So I got on the phone with him and called him from overseas and said, "Hey, man, you watching college football?" He said, "Man, I ain't watched college football since they screwed my boys out their championship. We did not watch college football for 6 years because of that game."
I don't blame him. I'd have been mad too. Look, it's over with. It's over with.
Hey,
I'll take a
first,
break.
thank you for your service, man. Fellow Army vet here, so thank you for your service, brother. Appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, thank you as well. We can't do it without each other, brother.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir, bro. I appreciate you, champ, for coming on to the show. Appreciate you. We're going to have to get you back on again, coming in later on after this football season again. That's my boy, Champ. You've seen him on TikTok. You like I say, he's on YouTube now. Great football, man, as you all see. Everybody chat was like, yeah, Champ cooking. Appreciate you having you on, brother. Oh, go ahead, Champ.
Just one request.
Yeah.
Can you come back when we do some NFL draft previews and talk some of these prospects? Can you come back?
Anytime, man. Hey, SB, man, SB has been following me since the black and white videos. I don't do the black and white videos anymore, but that's how you do that. Because everybody, and the funny thing about SB, man, he has the best sense of humor ever, man.
I appreciate it, brother.
Because everybody knows when the Falcons start losing, what video is coming. Or if I see a blowout, what is coming. And I never forget, he came up with it. He said, Chet, where you at? And he put that video on.
Right,
And not to mention, he put it in black and white. And that was
I had to do it in black and white.
Yeah, he did it in black and white. So that was the funniest thing, man. SB,
brother.
SB is my dog, man. So I'll be more than happy to come back. Anytime you want me on the show, I'll come back. It's a dream come true to be on here, bro.
I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you saying those kind words, brother. And in your mind when it comes to football, bro, and everything with sports too, especially football, bro, you be going crazy. That's why I was like, bro, I had to have you on, man. Appreciate you for your time. And we definitely gonna get you back when it comes around draft time, champ. Appreciate salute, brother.
All right, Dad. All right, Battle. I'm gonna holler at you.
All right, brother.
That's my boy Champ, boy. He be going crazy. Now I just won that football, but that's all right. I rock with Champ because he be cooking on that football too, for sure, bro. But one more thing we got to go in when it comes to this football. Shout out my boy Champ once again. Make sure you guys go subscribe to his channel. Let me see. Can I share my screen to play the video of this one? Because Keyshawn Johnson had a lot to say about what the NFL should do with Lamar Jackson. Let's go rewind this back.
Go right now to you.
It's Patrick Mahomes.
By far.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. Lamar Jackson should get the opportunities. But we live in a corporate world. And I don't necessarily know when they look at Lamar, if they look at him and say, he could be the face for a number of reasons. Okay, he deep south. So they already, you know how they Florida.
How we talk, yeah.
That's how they are, because in 2019, he won the MVP.
Yeah.
Have you seen him on any commercial?
No.
About to win it again this year.
And he going to win it again. That's the messed up part about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But when you bring it to the attention, people they don't want to talk about that.
Right.
It's like, well, wait a minute, man. Hold on. This dude, 2-time MVP in 6 years. Meanwhile, the dude that we all keep hyping up, keep going home and Josh Allen, but y'all keep putting him on EA Sports and putting him on this and putting him on that, and he keep getting sent to the crib. So you look at it and you say, how could this be? This can't be this way this year with him. They've got to figure out, because they did it in basketball with Lil Penny, right?
Word.
Penny didn't like to talk,
Mm.
but Nike got so creative.
I love this. That's
that
a great
they figured
call.
out.
That's a great call. I love that idea.
Yeah, think about it.
'Cause
They
it's not
figured out, because when you think about Lil Penny, and obviously this is when we all first started playing and becoming professionals and making money and whatnot, we looked at that. They brought in Tyra Banks and Chris Rock. So they brought a beauty in, then they brought a funny man in, and Penny didn't really have to do a whole lot, which is okay. They need to figure that out with Lamar, because they say Lamar doesn't have a personality, so to speak. Like, he's not outspoken type, personality. He got a little Southern twang to him. That's okay, though. If you really want to make it work, I can make it work for you in a heartbeat. I promise you. I can put the shit together from a marketing standpoint.
If you really wanted to do it, though.
If you really wanted to do it,
mm-hmm.
I can put him in all the little State Farm commercials and everything else.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to do it.
Yeah, that's the
Because think about it. What MVPs in any league
not doing that?
not doing commercials and stuff?
Not doing
in
everything.
any league. Some dudes ain't even in the MVP conversation to get commercials.
Still doing it right.
Come on now.
Goddamn right.
But that's, those two dudes to me are the face of the league.
So that was a very, 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 very interesting video. But I wanted to check something real quick before we get into the concept, because I believe Lamar Jackson was on the Madden cover. So that's the only thing they ain't wrong about. Lamar Jackson on the cover of Madden 21. So that was false. Because I was like, I remember Lamar Jackson being on the cover of Madden. So I love the concept, but sometimes we can't go too far in depth because sometimes we might go left field and be wrong. I do agree with the fact that, like, if you're talking about from an NFL perspective, trying to market Lamar Jackson as the face, I don't think it's necessarily just a cultural thing, too. I mean, you could say cultural is like big part because I think it's his play style, too, because they don't think his play style leads to winning, which is like he just brought up with Josh Allen. And Josh Allen pretty much played just like Lamar Jackson. He just don't have he just have, in your words, Sean, your key, I take one of your words, the complexion of protection. He has that. You know, could the NFL do better at marketing Lamar Jackson? Yeah, could they? But you're asking for, like, can Nike do it? That's a shoe company. A shoe company gonna get creative because they gotta sell them shoes. The NFL gonna make money with or without Lamar Jackson, so they don't care about promoting Lamar Jackson as the face. Now, if he come up and take heed and take hold of it, because with the NFL, what makes you want to be the face for the NFL? If you winning and you make money, that's it. And that's honest, the truth about the situation. When you talk about, like, when you facing adversity to be the face, if Lamar Jackson was winning like how Patrick Mahomes was winning, and bringing in like the buku bucks, everybody looking at him as like he's the great conversation, they will have no choice but to push for him to be the face, and they would get creative. You can't ask them to do what a shoe company was doing for a guy. Like, I guarantee if Lamar Jackson signs a shoe deal with like Under Armour or Nike, you'll start seeing those commercials get creative because they're trying to sell a product. So asking them to take a page out of the NBA market book, I just say that you wish that the NFL push more for Black athletes being the face and showing them more respect and love, because every point of perspective from the marketing thing you asked from outside sources. Madden, he always on the cover of Madden. Penny, that's a shoe deal. That's not the league doing that. The NBA didn't make Nike do that. The NBA don't have control who's on the cover of a game. You know what I'm saying? So that's my only argument with that. So just really honestly, Keyshawn, just say that the NFL don't show enough love and respect to the Black quarterbacks. To me, just keep it a buck. Don't say all that, because that marketing stuff, no, that's all outside stuff for me.
So I agree with a lot of what Keyshawn said. And yes, to your point, he was on the cover of Madden.
Yes.
Right. But so this is where I agree with Keyshawn. You don't see a bunch of Lamar commercials, right? You don't see really any, if you're being honest. I've seen more Travis Kelce commercials than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, Travis Kelce got more commercials this season than he had touchdowns in the regular season. So, you know, I see Travis Kelce a lot on my TV and not in the end zone during the regular season. That's the first thing. I think it comes down to a couple things. Number one, it's who's in the room that represents for Lamar. And I'm not saying from Lamar's team. I'm saying who's in these rooms when you're having conversations about who to market that represents for Lamar. So a couple weeks ago, I don't know if you saw SB, the New York Times released an article about Travis Kelce's haircut. His hair, right. He got a low drop fade. He got a low drop fade. The low drop fade is 45 years old.
Yep.
Been going on forever. But nobody at the New York Times, in terms of representation, is in the room saying this is a pointless article.
Right.
Been around forever. Just because he's wearing it don't mean it's a new style.
They was asked, was it gentrified? I think that's the one I seen.
Yes, it was basically about, you know, the gentrification or the whole Taylor Swift with the swag surfing. Swag surfing 15 years old.
Come on, man.
But now all of a sudden, because Taylor Swift is at the Chiefs game doing it, Now it's like, oh, she's bringing this is a new trend. This is the new hotness. Like, no, it's 15 years old.
Come on now.
So again, who is in the room when you're having these meetings about who to market and who to push publicly? Because notice, Lamar has never been in trouble. There's no nonsense with Lamar. You ain't got to worry about him You ain't got to worry about him going out getting a bunch of DUIs or getting a bunch of domestic violence stuff, because that ain't even his MO. Ain't not get down, right? So who's in the room marketing this? You think about when the NFL changed the rules to benefit the quarterbacks, right? They wanted to market quarterback matchups. Want to market Brady versus Manning, which is why Brady and Manning played against each other every year. Always put that game in the regular season, and they hope that they would have it in the playoffs. So why haven't you done the same thing with Mahomes and Lamar? Because you could literally milk this for 15 years. They came in the league within a year of each other. They're both young guys. They're both in the AFC. You could literally schedule Kansas City and Baltimore every single season. And it would be prime time.
They don't think Lamar, they didn't believe that Lamar can consistently be this good, consistently be an MVP caliber player. Because you remember when Joe Burrow beat him, they were like, oh yeah, Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes is the rivalry. Oh no. Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen is the rivalry. They change it all the time. But really, the must-see TV is really Lamar Jackson versus Patrick Mahomes.
Thank you. So who's not seeing that and saying we can market around these two young guys who, again, Patrick Mahomes has more nonsense in his life because of his family than Lamar Jackson does.
Yeah.
But you market Patrick Mahomes. And this ain't no slight to Patrick Mahomes. I'm just saying, just look at who they're pushing and why they're pushing, right? And again, there are deeper conversations to be had here. We don't have time to go into them. But the shade does matter.
Yeah.
Right? I'll tell you this quick story, real quick. Many years ago, I was pitching a sports talk show called The Finalizers.
Yeah, you talking about it.
Yes. So we had 2 women and 2 guys in the cast of the show, right? Whenever I would pitch the show and I would show people the trailer or the teaser for the show or a sizzle reel, the biggest complaint I would get was about the dark-skinned Southern chick in the show. Even though what they didn't know, her brother played in the NFL, her husband played college football, she had many cousins and relatives who all played in the NFL. She is she's a sports chick.
Right.
She knows her stuff. She's just from Decatur. She sounds like a chick from Decatur, Georgia.
Right. Which is fine.
Right. She's basically like Candy from Escape. Right. But they did not like her. Because they did not know how they would market her. So when I stood my ground and said, no, she is a big part of what we want to do, part because of where we film, but part because of what she brings to the show, there were people who was like, nah, you got to replace her. So what I started paying closer attention to was look on ESPN. Who was on ESPN at the time? The Sage Steels. All of the light brights, no Southern accent, super skinny. That's what they want. And the same thing happens in these rooms, in these other rooms where you talk about who to market.
Yep.
So I understand what Keyshawn was saying, but I do think it's much more a nuanced conversation that people are always happy to have and always willing to have.
Because people don't like having them uncomfortable conversations because they don't want to feel like they, how can I say this?
Racist.
There you go. Yep, there you go. There you go. There you go. Yep, right. Hit it right on here. All right, Sean. We got two more stories, and then we get up out of here. Yeah. Okay. NBA trade deadline. I'm trying to find all the trades I guess the biggest trade you told me before then this, and I have to attest to it. I got to give you credit to the show. You texted me, was like, don't be expecting no big old names to be moved this trade deadline. Ain't nobody gonna move. I was like, no, you're sure? I'm like, somebody gonna move. He said, no, it's not gonna happen. And I got to tip my hat to your brother because you was right. The biggest name that was moved was it Gordon Hayward to the Thunder?
Basically.
Basically, yes. Gordon Hayward to the Thunder was a big move, which I like that move. So while I'm going through this trade deadline thing, what was the best trade that you liked from the trade deadline, and why? Maybe what was the worst one if you have one?
So there were a couple I really liked. I like what the Knicks did, getting Bogdan and getting Alec Burks adding more depth to their team.
Yeah.
I don't know if it puts them in the top 2 in the East, but it definitely, I think, makes them far more competitive. They're still not better than Boston. And if Milwaukee gets their stuff together, they're not better than Milwaukee. But I do think it pretty much for me now. And Cleveland's been on a run these last few weeks as well too.
Cleveland
so,
hot. Cleveland hot right now.
Hot right now. They're second in the East. So, but I think for the Knicks, it's they're saying, hey, listen, we want to add to our depth, but we don't want to, take ourselves out of the conversation about possibly getting another guy, this summer or next season. So, I like what the Knicks did, but I really like what Dallas did as well. PJ Washington, as long as Brittany Renner's not in the picture, should be very good for them. But I actually like the Gafford move. The Gafford move more than the PJ Washington move. Not that PJ Washington's a bad player, but I think Gafford gives them a veteran big man, somebody that will come in, provide some rim protection, help them on the boards. They're not a good rebound at all. So I like what Dallas did. I feel like Dallas, made a move to push themselves into that potential top 4 in the West conversation.
I like shout out boy wonders who he's surprised to see that Bruce Brown wasn't moved out. Me too. He said I think the biggest moves was Knicks, and I like the Dallas what Dallas did. I 100% agree with both of y'all. I'm only thing I'm mad about the Knicks trade before I get to my 2 is like literally this was somewhat the trade that we wanted, but take out Michael Flynn and Archie Diacono, maybe make one of the picks of first. We wanted RJ Barrett and I think Obi Toppin. This was literally the Zach LaVine trade. But they told us they didn't want to get rid of Quentin Grimes, and that's what hold the trade back. And I was effing pissed about that. For me, I definitely like the where's the Gordon Hayward trade at? I'm trying to see it exactly. I like the Gordon Hayward trade because you notice that you got a young team who's up and coming, top of the West. I wish they would have went and got a veteran big man, though. I think they would have been helping them better to like protect the paint and rebound. I would have went more for that because I think Gordon Hayward might take up a little bit of time from the wings from the other guys, but that'll help Williams, Chet Holmgren with the vet leadership that he brings. You have that guy, it's just nice to have vet leadership on the team where you see like, okay, we actually can compete when we're very young, but you also need that vet voice in the locker room to get the young guys on point, get them prepared. But I would have preferred them going to get a veteran big man. I think the big man would have helped them better in the long term, especially in the West where you got to play the Minnesota Timberwolves with Cat and Rudy Gobert, and you got to beat that man who loves to race horses in the offseason in Nikola Jokic. Can I say I like this move? Yeah, because I believe they tried, but I say like the Milwaukee Bucks going to get Patrick Beverly. That's just like they tried to get something to help them on the perimeter defense. That's like that shows the fans that hey, look, everybody that y'all wanted us to get, we couldn't get them. We couldn't get Caruso. We couldn't go get Jaden McDaniels. We couldn't go get Herb Jones. We tried, but we could go get Patrick Beverly. Patrick Beverly solves the problem for now. It's just a Band-Aid over the gunshot wound, maybe, but yeah. So those my 2. I could probably say. Besides, obviously, I would have probably went with the 2 ones you said just to say something different. And I do like the Buddy Hield move a little bit. I was shocked. Remember I told you I was shocked that the Pacers kind of got rid of him because like the spaces that you want to kind of have, but like you said, you got to open up room for those other guys. My most disappointing thing was this, Sean. I was livid, and I'm actually shocked that this is still on my wall right now. This Bulls logo is on my wall, but Bulls BP Arturas Karnarcevic, AK, not making trades as MFer, set out a third season on the trade deadline and not made a trade. He didn't make a trade, nothing. We got Zach. Zach was going to get traded. He said, I ain't going to Detroit, set out. We got DeMar DeRozan on an expiring contract. What's the point of keeping DeMar DeRozan? It's no reason for this. You can sit out 3 seasons. We have underachieved for the past 3 seasons, and you can't make a move. No moves. You keep with this continuity. I'm tired of continuity. Make a trade. Do something. Go young. We're not competing for a championship. Zach out cool. Let Zach go. Go trade DeMar. See DeMar want to go to the Pelicans. Go get a Herb Jones. Go get somebody. Go get something for him. Go get second. Go get cash consideration. Go send him somewhere. Maybe go get buyout. If we would have even got DeMar for like a mid-tier player and a second, I would have been happy because we're going to lose him from nothing. I'd have been cool with that. Something, do something. We could have called for Buddy Hield. I'm looking at these people getting traded. Like, I would have taken Holmes, Quentin Grimes, not Cameron Payne. It's nothing. I never take Cameron Payne. That's not going to happen. Even you can't tell me you can't move somebody. Even the Bucks found a way to move Robin Lopez to the Sacramento Kings, and it was for a draft pick and cash consideration. So
and they waived them, and they waived them.
So you can find to move somebody. You could have probably tried to trade DeMar to the Nets for Dorian Finney-Smith. I would have took Dorian Finney-Smith in a second for him. But this continuity, they giving me PTSD of Garpax all over again. I'm Sean. I'm living with this team. Just next time, if we do podcasts, you see something missing in my background, don't ask no questions. Okay, just don't ask no questions. Just don't ask. I'm going through therapy right now. But I really want to raise, but my Xbox is right here, so I don't want to just go crazy on streaming. I might knock my Xbox over. It ain't working.
Oh yeah, can't do that.
It ain't working, so I can't do it. But
so,
yeah, Sean, I'm tired.
Yeah, I know. Listen, so I saw something the other day, and you won't laugh at it, but you'll appreciate the humor in it. But it was basically it had the 4 teams, or the one team in each major sport that should be rebuilding and don't seem to want to, or don't know they need to be rebuilding. And the NBA team was the Bulls. The NFL team, ironically, was the Saints. The Major League Baseball team was the Angels, and I believe the NHL team was the Devils, New Jersey Devils. But anyway, I think the problem with the Bulls is it's Jerry Reinsdorf. It's Jerry Reinsdorf. Jerry Reinsdorf won't just say tear it down, right? Because I think he is so afraid of going through what he went through and what that organization went through after 1998.
But Sean, we know that happened because everybody felt like you did Mike dirty. Because it's been years when we had Cameron Payne, Cornelius Felicio, Paul Zipser in a starting lineup, and we were still selling out tickets.
Yeah,
we'll come to the game if hey, look, y'all, this is what we doing. And we don't if we don't BS us over. Hey, look, y'all, we need to rebuild. Kobe White looking like the future. We're going to keep Zach. Contract too bad. We can't really necessarily move him. Zach going to come back next season. We're going to build a team. We're going to see how Kobe White and Zach do. But we're going to go full-fledged behind Kobe White. DeMar DeRozan got to go. We really can't see nothing for Vooch, but we got Vooch on the contract. We're going to keep Vooch. We're going to keep Caruso because we feel like he's a part of the future. Drummond, we might let Drummond go because he's a little bit older. What's so hard about that? Oh, okay, cool. We rock with that. We rock with the Kobe White movement. Let's see how big Kobe White can get. We go in this next offseason, possibly move Zach LaVine and build around Kobe White and keep Vooch as our veteran presence. Oh, I'm all in. That's a 2-second conversation. What's so hard about that? But Raptors want to feel like, oh, yeah, because what happened in 98. No, you
Yeah, I know. No, listen, I agree with you. I think the problem is organizationally, what is the direction, right? I think most fans, and let me rephrase, most sensible fans will get behind if you have an organizational direction and they can see it. Right?
Yes.
But this constant, let's just put a Band-Aid here. You know what? Hey, listen, we got Lonzo. We understand Lonzo had the knee injury. We got Lonzo because we didn't think Kobe White was the answer at point guard, right? So let's move Kobe to the bench and bring him off the bench as our sixth man or as a rotational guy. Lonzo gets hurt. You got to play Kobe White more. Okay, well, you know what? Hey, listen, Alex Caruso, really good player, really solid player. Let's bring him in because we want to be better defensively. Okay, get it. The DeRozan signing never made sense to me because it felt redundant with what you have with Levine. But hey, you make the move to get DeRozan because, again, it's like, hey, we think we can make a push, right? To me, it's no different than when you had Rondo, Jimmy, and D Wade. It's like what do you? And it still feels weird to see D Wade in a Bulls uniform. I will say that to the day. I'm sorry.
We would have made a run though if Rondo didn't get hurt. We was beating the Celtics.
Yeah,
we was beating us at the playoffs. We in the regular season, it looking good. The playoffs, I was like, hold on, wait a minute, hold on. We might cook up. Hold on.
But I think what's really funny to me, SB, about this iteration of the Bulls is when the Bulls have been good, and when I say good, meaning have been competitive, it always started with a foundational guy you drafted.
Yes. And
you also added other draft picks to that foundational guy. Or maybe you had some picks, some players you drafted, and you brought in that foundational guy afterwards. So obviously you draft Jordan, okay? Then you get Pippen and Grant in the same draft, right? Draft BJ Armstrong. You draft. So it was always they drafted well. You fast forward, you draft Luol Deng, right? You draft Ben Gordon. I know Ben Gordon didn't necessarily work out, but at least he was a sixth man of the year.
He was nice. Right? Rookie year too.
So all I'm saying is you added the pieces through the draft. You had Joe Kim. Then obviously you get D Rose the next year. All the foundation of Bulls has always been we're going to draft and we're going to build it in the draft, and we'll make little moves here and there via trade or free agency, but that's not our main thing. Our main thing is we draft, and it doesn't feel like the Bulls have done that in forever.
We move like we the Lakers, like we don't build off signing players. We never built off signing players. So why y'all trying to do that? It don't work. It don't work. Stop trying to sign. Pau Gasol was cool with but Boozer, trash. DeMar DeRozan. I ain't gonna say trash, but we don't want that no more. Stop doing it. Stop doing this, man. It man. Look, dog, it's killing me. I'm you know what? Let's shut it down before I get a headache. That's episode 50. Forget the. Go ahead.
Just real quick. I know. Was there a team outside of the Bulls you thought was going to make a move that didn't make any moves?
Oh yeah, because I had them on there, but I didn't know if you wanted to go into them. I definitely had them on them. Let me go back down. Oh yeah, I definitely had them on there. The Lakers. As much all crying that they did, they passed on with no deal, no moves. I thought they would at least did something. I didn't know if you wanted to go into the Lakers situation, but the Lakers for me 100%. As much as all the crying and complaining, LeBron mode, like you didn't make one move, even if it was like one. I guess they're just gonna go for the buyout, but for me, it's the Lakers for sure. What about you?
I mean, the Lakers was a little surprising, but at the same time, I wasn't all that surprised because I think the league is like, why are we trading for your trash? No offense.
I mean, it's not an offense. It's the truth. They trash.
Yeah, but why are we trading for your trash? Like, why are we helping you? And I know everybody's like, and the Lakers didn't want to trade Austin Reeves because they think he's a future superstar. Miss me with that, okay? When Austin Reeves makes an all-star team, then holler at me. Until then, all he is THT with a better jumper and more consistent. All right. So Austin Reeves is a future superstar. We're not doing that.
With GA.
Yeah, we're not doing that. All right. But the other team I was a little surprised by was Sacramento. I thought Sacramento was going to and they didn't do anything. And again, I don't know what the issue is, but I thought they needed to do something, and they didn't.
You said it with the Lakers. Nobody wants your trash. You're not going to ask me for one of my best players and only offer me Harrison Barnes. I'm good on that. I don't want Harrison Barnes. You're going to have to come up. Like, I get everybody loves, like, I know you even love Keegan Murray. You said Keegan Murray is a no touch. You can't tell me Keegan Murray, Malik Monk. I know I can't touch Fox and Sabonis. But if you said you asked for one of my best players on my team, you got to give me something to work with. You can't just tell me Harrison Barnes and one of the guys at the tail end of the bench for Zach LaVine.
So I thought like Davion Mitchell, like he would have value.
Or
right?
Mitchell, yeah. Contract too low. He only get paid like $2 million, Sean.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying but he has value, right? Because
yes,
the team would say, "Hey, listen, we think this guy in this situation could be a league guard." So I thought Davion Mitchell had value. I thought Chris Duarte might have some value, but So to me, their big issue is I just don't know. First of all, I don't like Sabonis playing center. He's not a center. That's the first thing,
right?
And they are not good defensively, not good enough defensively. I thought they needed to do something to get better defensively, but
I think Andre Drummond would have been nice for them and cheap.
I think he could have helped them.
Andre Drummond would have been nice and cheap. But okay, Sean, before we go ahead and wrap it up, episode 50. 50. I feel like I could pick a better one, but I told you, I got to go back and look like episode 30. I said, when we get to 50, you know who I'm picking. Zebo. I got to pick Zebo because just Zebo was always cool. But I'm going to go ahead and look up again, but I'm only sticking with the one I said at first because I said Debo when we said we was going to do it. Who you got for number 50?
I'm going to go 50. I'm going to go with Mike Singletary.
Ooh, I like that. I like the Mike Singletary. The Mike Singletary. You know who I thought you was going to go with, though?
Who's that?
I thought you was going to go with the Admiral. I thought you were going to go with the Admiral.
I have all the respect in the world for David Robinson, but he was one of my least favorite players.
Why? Because he looked like he looked like an 80s movie cop. Black cop.
No, it was for me with David Robinson, I always felt he was never that dude. Mm-hmm. Like they wanted him to be that dude, but he was never that dude. And he's a great number two. He was never a number one guy like that. And when you saw him go up against Olajuwon, who murked him, and Shaq used to give him some work. Patrick Ewing would give him work every now and again. He was, just a little overhyped to me, but great player, can't take nothing away from him. Hall of Famer, obviously had a great career, but I just never dug him like that.
I appreciate it. And then before we get up out of here, who is Red Velvet? If you got to go and tell us who Red Velvet is. But yeah, appreciate you guys watching. Can't wait to Monday Super Bowl recap. We're going to get into it. We're going to be talking about how Patrick Mahomes is just the greatest quarterback ever. After this, and Brock Purdy, Jeremy Lin again. But it's Sbtalksports, Sean Webb, Real Takes So Effective Bates, and we are out of here.